What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and this will be an interesting year because it seems like the mainstream media has kind of locked on to this idea that super chat's bad. Now, I don't really live stream that often, so they aren't a big part of my income. But for many YouTubers, whether it's Dr. Disrespect or Tim Pool or any other, Tim the Tatman or Friday Night Tights, these people live stream a lot, and so tips are how they pay their bills. The ad revenue on a particular live stream is difficult, and in my experience, it's almost impossible to get an actual live stream monetized. It keeps turning yellow every time I live stream. I can never figure that out. But the media has been sniffing around these websites that publicly display how many super chats people get, and this information, in my opinion, is only used for one thing, and that is to smear YouTubers and to fuel hit pieces. There's already been several out there, whether it was this ridiculous one promoted by a Business Insider, or even more nefarious ones where people are actually running case studies on somebody like Tim Pool or the Young Turks, and using these to essentially say YouTube's funding hate, YouTube profits from misinformation and calls for bad behavior. And these articles aren't really, the people that write these articles, they don't care about YouTube actually funding anything. They don't care about actual misinformation. What they care about is demonetizing people like Tim Pool. That's what these real articles are about. They're just so blatantly obvious. We saw with, Business Insider by that hack Cat 10 barrage or whatever. The trial led to huge income boosts for law YouTubers. Here's how much some of them earned. I don't know, maybe I'm just old school, but you don't talk about, like when I grew up, you didn't talk about who you voted for, which that's obviously changed a lot these days. You don't talk about how much money you earn. It's cringe, it's dumb, and on top of that, it's not anyone else's information. I think YouTubers that flex are dumb because, the money won't be there forever. I think it's like spitting in your fans' face when you do that kind of stuff. But I assume people that do that have really young audiences who don't really get it. But what's interesting is now this new piece, a piece that's been floating around, getting shopped around, it looks like, goes after Tim Pool and uses like the Young Turks as, I don't know. But what's interesting is people say, so there's a piece by ISD, which is a government-funded think tank by the United States, the UK, and EU, as well as other NATO countries. And this is really spooky stuff. So this article, is like, key findings. Super chat comments are used to publish content that violates YouTube's community guidelines. Across all three case studies featured in the research, ISD found that 5% of a sample of super chat comments contained content that promoted misinformation, disinformation, hate speech, or various threats. Now, they looked at Timcast, IRL, Right Side Broadcasting, which I don't know who that is, but I also think it's really bizarre that they only looked at 10 of their videos while they looked at 100 of the other ones. And then the Young Turks. 100 versus 100. This is pretty funny. Like, total revenue difference. Showing that Timcast made $220,000 and Young Turks made $14,000. That's okay though, because the Young Turks get all sorts of $1 million grants for literally no viewers. By the way, shout out to Tim and his chat and his viewers, which I know we share like 80% of our viewers, but you all really supported during the SWAT, and Tim, definitely shouted out Coffee Brand Coffee, which goes a really long way. And this is why I implore other YouTubers to take this kind of approach and find revenue outside of YouTube, because these slime balls will use it. By the way, we're up to 620 reviews on Coffee Brand Coffee. Tea shipments started this week. So if you get your tea, make sure you take a picture and leave a review. That would, please. We really need to build up our reviews for the teas because they're a brand new product. But don't let me sell you the product. We have 6 awesome teas all organic, loose leaf teas. We have 6 coffees, including a cold brew, which people are loving. These cold brews for summer, people are absolutely, look at 23 5-star ratings. Look at, and these are all reviews from people that actually, bought the product. So, if you want to use code Timcast, you'll save 5% off one-time purchases, or if you do the subscribe and save, you get 10% off, so you don't need a promo code for that. I'd greatly appreciate it if you just checked out the website, checked out the reviews, checked out the coffee, tea, or cocoa, or maybe some of the merch. It all goes directly to supporting me, and by the way, I use almost all the profits right now to buy ads on other YouTubers' channels. So you'll see ads on like Count Dankula and Bearing and Popcorn Planet and Nick Ricada and stuff like that coming soon. So anyway, so this is a government-funded think tank. Popular YouTube creators are not required to moderate live chat feeds. YouTube recommends, but does not require, that creators assign moderators in their live chats, especially for creators who quote high-traffic events. YouTube's decision against requiring in-chat moderators represents a significant failing in safeguarding users. Again, what this means is they want to make us have moderators. Now, this is something that is done on Twitch. There is a penalty if you are a Twitch creator and you're not a Twitch streamer and you're not moderating your chat. Super Chats offers creators a significant source of revenue. ISD recorded over $220,000 in paid Super Chats comments posted in just one YouTube channel included in the research. Just say Tim Pool. The J6 catalyzed calls for bad behavior across numerous YouTube users. ISD observed many paid Super Chat comments posted on live videos related to the protests. Okay, so we already know what's going on here. Now, this is, by the way, sent to me by a viewer, so shout out to them also. This is what they said. So ISD Global London-based think tank, government funded by USA, UK, EU, Australia, NATO, and others. This group has a publication called Cash for Comments, how YouTube Super Chats enable the platform and creators to profit from conspiracies, misinformation, and calls for bad behavior. Has specifically named and used Tim Pool IRL and associated sites as the example for creators profiting off hate. Now he says that, or they say, it's a collaboration with the Southern Poverty Law Center. Examples how they frame Tim Pool, quote, Pool has described himself as socially liberal, but aligned with conservative right-wing perspectives on issues like immigration and has supported Donald Trump. A study from the Election Integrity Partnership found that Pool helped amplify false pro-Trump narratives, promoting voter fraud claims during 2020 presidential election. On YouTube, Pool regularly hosts people from across the right-wing spectrum, including Alex Jones, Jack Posobiec, and other people. So again, this is obviously like slanted against him, right? Now, at least they acknowledge the split, right? Super Chats, YouTube takes 30%, plus we pay tax on it and stuff like that. So I'm not going to talk about Tim Pool's money. He's earned every penny of it, especially the many hundreds of dollars that Coffee Brand Coffee sent him the other night, that got me swatted. But, code SWAT will also save you the same percentage. So they go, they look at the election. ISC recorded 188 paid Super Chats on Timcast videos that reference false or misleading claims about ballots. Again, they're just comments, though. They aren't like Tim Pool's saying these things. So what this is really doing is saying that these users should be banned. 23 Super Chat comments directly reference the voting system, blah, blah, blah. January 6th, of course. The COOF. Then we have the Kyle trial, potential hate speech violations. But here's what the interesting thing is. Okay? Here's the interesting thing. This whole article appears to try and appear unbiased. Like, oh, we looked at Right Side Broadcasting and we looked at the Young Turks too. But they don't talk about any of their money, do they? They're calling out Tim Pool specifically in all of these. Here's Timcast IRL. Here's Timcast IRL. Here's Timcast IRL. Here's Timcast IRL. So they don't actually call out any super chats from these other people. You can see content featuring or promoting misinformation. So you have Timcast 720 videos. Young Turks 42. Man, they're just so good. Total revenue pointed out. Again, they don't tell you what is, quote, misinformation. They just say, oh my God, Tim Pool has so much of it. And their conclusion, super chats represent an under-researched element of content monetization and content moderation on YouTube. There are no analytical tools offered by YouTube, such as API access. By the way, why you shouldn't have that either. Or researchers making any scalable analysis beyond the scope of most research projects. That's a lie. There are entire websites that aggregate all the super chat data. The findings of this analysis also highlight how there's a particularly stark enforcement gap on YouTube when it comes to super chats. While YouTube has developed nuanced policies against content in the chat, ISD recommends that YouTube and the Google address this gap in part by requiring, rather than just recommending, creators who broadcast high traffic events to use moderators in live chat, and then also, enforce the rules that they want you to enforce. This shift would go in some way towards ensuring the extremely spicy content that is not permitted. I mean, okay, sure. Sure. But like, what's interesting to me is like, who's funding this? Who's funding this? And they have all sorts of, this is like their entire business model is attacking creators who make money. Institute for Strategic Dialogue? Who? Like, just call yourself Acme. And if you look up who they are, if you trust Wikipedia, of course, it's a London-based think tank discussing and modifying police responses to bad behavior. Its co-founder of CEO Sasha Havalik. Who's Sasha Havalik? Well, there's no information on them. And it's interesting to me, like, who are these people and why are they so interested in demonetizing Tim Pool? Because that's what that entire article is. You can see back in 2017, Google and ISD partnered to deliver $1 million innovation fund to counter hate. See, that's their grift. They grifted $1 million off Google. It's very interesting that there are so many of these companies. They have 105 people working for them. 105. Who's funding all this? They're in Berlin, London, Paris, and Washington, D.C. And they're really worried about how many super chats Tim Pool's making. Pretty interesting stuff. If you haven't yet, make sure you check out Coffee Brand Coffee. Make today the day you pick something up. I guarantee you'll like it. If you don't drink coffee, we've got tea. If you don't drink tea, we've got hot cocoa. If you don't drink anything, we've got merch. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.